We talked about the challenges, but I'd like to also talk about opportunities. I mean, CNBC and LinkedIn, your company, recently conducted a poll where we asked, where are the biggest opportunities for today's small businesses? We received nearly 1,400 responses, and here's what small business owners said. 45% adoption of new technology, just what you were talking about. 23% then say upskilling of leaders and staff, so maybe sort of teaching folks that are already there some of the skills that you need. 20% acquiring new talent, and then 12% was working with creators and partners. What do you make of these results? Any of those surprising to you?
Honestly, I'm a little bit excited to see that there's a huge focus seeing adoption of new technologies as an opportunity, because what our research is showing us is that when small companies adopt AI, and by the way, right now, only about 4 in 10 are actually adopting AI right now. Those are the early adopters. They find that actually their likelihood of seeing revenue growth is higher. They find that the likelihood of getting higher productivity is there for them. So they're actually realizing success from adopting AI. But the issue is that there's a lot of cost to it and a lot of commitment. The other thing on the poll that I want to call out that I thought was really interesting was the focus, although it was the smallest percentage, was the focus on creators and partners, because this is a trend that we're seeing on our platform, where increasingly companies are looking to reach their buyers or their audiences through video, through short form social content that can really be authentic, that's highly trusted, and frankly is pretty effective at getting into the mind share of the buyer. And so I think that's interesting that it showed up in the poll.
Yeah, very much so. Karin, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you, a chief economist here talking about work and small business, about the impact of tariffs and maybe even just general inflation, higher expenses. How are small businesses dealing with this? Is it as big of an issue as we think it might be, or is that resiliency coming into play again?
I'd say it's both. I think it is an issue they have to contend with. So rates right now are still where they've been for the last 6 or 7 months. And as a result, the cost of borrowing, the cost of funding is a little bit higher for small businesses than maybe they would like. But at the same time, they're also looking at the opportunities, the fact that the tariffs are forcing them to rely on that resilience. Think of it this way: the tariff is an additional cost. All businesses are going to face that additional cost. Small businesses have the additional challenge of figuring out how to manage it because their pockets aren't as deep, and they may pass it on to the consumer. They may have to, absorb it, which is hard. But they've managed to do this, and what we know for sure is that the starting point in the tariff negotiation is not where we end, so I think we need to wait and see. But in the meantime, you're seeing companies that are managing it. They're figuring out their supply chains. They're figuring out how to connect with their customers. So this won't necessarily be a death knell. If anything, I would say small businesses are absolutely the backbone of the U.S. economy. We know they hire nearly half of all of the American workforce. They are net job creators, even more so than large companies. So they're incredibly dynamic, and I'm pretty sure that they're going to find their way through this.